Welcome First Lady of the City of New York, Chirlane McCray.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, welcome to Gracie Mansion. You know, Bill and I are so delighted to celebrate New York City's incredible emergency relief team tonight. Yay! As you know, our first responders' work is never done. In fact, many of our bravest and finest could not be with us tonight because they're down in North Carolina right now, helping out. So in absentia, let's give them a round of applause. We do appreciate them. And you all amaze me. In the wake of Hurricane Maria's devastation, you arrived to help clear the debris, deliver water and urgently needed supplies, and help people most affected by the storm begin their path to recovery. You saved lives, and you gave people hope, even as they felt abandoned by the federal government. There were thousands and thousands of New Yorkers agonizing over the safety of their loved ones on the islands, and they took comfort knowing that the very best of our city were on the job. So tonight, we say thank you. Thank you for your expertise, for your courage, and your commitment. And thank you for showing our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico that New York City will always stand with them. Nueva York está con Puerto Rico hoy y siempre. Now, there is still a long way to go to full recovery. As you know, Hurricane Maria didn't just sweep away buildings and structures that can be rebuilt over time. People lost loved ones. They lost a sense of security and stability. They lost their livelihoods and their homes. And that trauma lingers on, and New York City continues to help them through it. And I want you to know that your city is here for you too. To be exposed to so much pain and suffering can be overwhelming. It can be difficult to sleep, and the experience can trigger all kinds of negative memories and stress. So I ask you to please remember to take care of yourselves. We value you. Your families need you. Take care of yourselves, and that could mean, it could mean taking some time off. It could mean getting some counseling. I want everyone to know that there's free and confidential mental health counseling through our helpline at 1-888-NYC-WELL. Anyone can call and talk to a trained counselor, absolutely free and anonymous. Y también ofrecemos ayuda en español. Can you please all say the number with me? It's 1-888-NYC-WELL. One more time. 1-888-NYC-WELL. Thank you. And to all of your partners and family members who are here tonight, thank you for sharing your loved ones with us, sharing your loved ones with people who are in need. We honor you tonight as well. And now there is someone else who very much wants to thank you and honor you, and that is my partner in all things and our mayor, Bill de Blasio.
Bienvenidos a todos. Buenas noches. Welcome, everyone. This is such a moving gathering because we are here to celebrate some of the very best New Yorkers who make us so proud. They make us so proud because they showed the people of Puerto Rico and the entire world the goodness of New York City, the heart and the love of the people of New York City. And what they did was nothing short of heroic. This is our night to celebrate all of them. Let's start by applauding them, all of the first responders who went to Puerto Rico. Shirlene felt so deeply the challenges that the Puerto Rican people went through, and as you heard, she thought about all of the challenges, but she really focused on the one that got the least attention so often, which was the challenge of mental health. And I try and say to people, thank you, mental health people. I try and say to people, imagine if it were here. Imagine if we lost all electricity. Imagine if thousands had lost their lives. Imagine if tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands were displaced. Imagine what that would do to our psyche, right? Not just our day-to-day life, not just our material reality, but what that would do to our minds and our souls. People of Puerto Rico went through something they had never been through before. And they needed support of every kind. And it was not an option for New York City to look away. Remember in Apollo 13, they said failure is not an option? For New York City, it was not an option to ignore the people of Puerto Rico. It was our job to be there for the people of Puerto Rico. And I want to thank our First Lady because she helped to bring attention to the fact that those mental health needs were real and they deserved attention and support. Let's thank her for what she's done for the people of Puerto Rico. I want to say up front, Shirlene said it, but I want to say it too. We're so happy to have 150 of the first responders who went to Puerto Rico. There were 300 almost of city employees, first responders of all kinds who did an outstanding job. Almost half of them are here tonight. But let's really keep in our hearts and in our prayers the 100 New Yorkers who are down serving in the Carolinas right now. We honor them and we thank them. Now, I want to say a couple of things quickly, but we have some very special guests behind us, and I want to acknowledge them. And all of them played a role in the city's response to the crisis in Puerto Rico. I want to start with our Deputy Mayor, Herminia Blasio, and our Acting Health Commissioner, Dr. Auxiris Barbeau. And they both, not only did they go down to Puerto Rico as part of the effort our First Lady put together, but they gave their hearts and souls to make sure that those professionals in Puerto Rico, those mental health providers, those doctors had the support they needed here from New York City. Let's thank both of them for all they did for Puerto Rico. Now, two members of my City Hall team really went above and beyond. And for them, it was unquestionably a labor of love. And it was also very personal. And I want to thank them because I got to watch day in and day out what they did, and it was extraordinary. When you think about everything New York City achieved to help the people of Puerto Rico, these are two of the stars. And no star shined more brightly than Lorraine Cortez Vasquez. And if you know Lorraine, she is not shy. She is not timid. She demanded, she pushed, she cajoled, she did everything that had to be done to make sure the city was doing all it could for Puerto Rico, that the charitable world was doing all it could for Puerto Rico. I wish she could have taken over Washington, D.C. for a few weeks, because it would have turned out a lot better. But let's thank Lorraine for her extraordinary leadership. And then from literally she sits a few feet away from me in City Hall, I would ask Prisca Salazar Rodriguez, who brought her fan club this evening, I would ask her about her family, and like so many people in this room, those days passed where she couldn't reach her family. And I thought, here's a young woman in the middle of everything that's important in New York City, and even with all of her strengths and her position, like so many other people, she was waiting for information that no one could find. And that sense that we all felt of being out of touch when we needed to connect the most. But like so many folks in this city, so many Puerto Rican folks in particular, they turned that fear and that confusion into action, and passionate action on behalf of the people of Puerto Rico. Let's thank Prisca for all she did. Two agencies that were outstanding. They sent some of their very best, and they not only helped to save lives, but to help particularly the city of San Juan set up the capacity it needed, not only for now, but for the future, to deal with any emergency that may come in the future. So I want to thank all of their team, all of their employees, but representing their agencies so well. Our Fire Commissioner, Dan Nigro, and our Emergency Management Commissioner, Joe Esposito. And I think, people, I want everyone to reflect on that. San Juan, from this day forward, will have an emergency management center, a capacity to protect the people of San Juan. And Joe, you and your team deserve a lot of credit for that. Congratulations. I used to work for someone who said it takes a village, and it was about educating a child and raising a child. Well, it takes a village to save a place we love so dearly, Puerto Rico, but it also took money. It took resources to do all we needed to do. And I want to thank everyone associated with the Mayor's Fund. Of course, its chairwoman is my wife, so I really want to thank her. But I want to thank, he was then the executive director, he is now my senior advisor, Darren Block. Thank you to everyone at the Mayor's Fund for the great support you provided. And tonight we have with us everyone in this administration was shoulder to shoulder in this effort. Everyone cared, everyone did all they could do. Let's thank also Commissioner Fidel Del Valle of Oath, thank you. Commissioner Cecile Noel from what has been called the Office to Combat Domestic Violence, and now it is the Office to End Gender Violence. That's breaking news. Just happened a few days ago. I want to thank the chair of our Human Rights Commission, Carmelyn Morales. I want to thank a woman who makes so much of what our First Lady does possible, her Chief of Staff, Roxanne John, and a man who takes care of the People's House and makes it great for all of us, the Executive Director of the Gracie Mansion Conservancy, Paul Gunther. Thank you. And a special thank you, someone's got to point me which direction I see him, the predecessor that I give so much credit to for what he did for the city, but also he is the reason Shirlane and I met. He's the reason my children Kiara and Dante were born, and he is the reason so many wonderful people are in public service today, still serving this city. Let's thank Mayor David Dinkins. So everybody, I just want to say a few more things. 3.5 million Puerto Ricans who have gone through hell, starting with the moments when Hurricane Maria hit. I said this morning, Nydia Velázquez hosted a press conference for this anniversary. I want to say it here too. 3.5 million Americans who happen to be in an island in the Caribbean. There's 3.5 million people in the state of Connecticut. If the state of Connecticut had been blacked out and destroyed, the entire United States military would have been there to help. Not a question in my mind. And we have to have a never again, nunca más attitude about what happened in Puerto Rico. It can never be allowed to happen again to any Americans, regardless of their skin color or their language. Three days after Maria struck, there were employees of New York City already on the ground helping the people of Puerto Rico when they needed it. 3 days. Ultimately, 300 people from 20 agencies. And what you all did, all of you here, I want to honor you and thank you. You saved lives, literally. You cleared debris. You made it possible for people to go back to their buildings. You searched for survivors and got them to safety. You brought food and water and medicine to devastated communities. It all started within 3 days of the disaster, and it went on week after week after week. New York City was there, and New York City stayed there. And we will always be there when the people of Puerto Rico need us. And there are also a lot of you who served right here at the Hurricane Maria Service Center in East Harlem, and you helped so many people. And imagine if your life were totally uprooted and you were 1,000 miles away. You sure as hell would want a helping hand and someone to show you some compassion and some understanding. And to all the folks at the Service Center, you did an outstanding job. Let's thank all of them. What all of you showed was just how great the greatest city in the world is. You were all consummate professionals, but even more important, you are outstanding human beings in the way you went about helping the people of Puerto Rico. And it makes us very, very proud as New Yorkers. So we're applauding all of those who served in this effort. But I want to echo what Charlene said. The family members of those who serve also deserve our appreciation. Let's give them a big round of applause to thank them. This effort was an effort filled with love. One of the first responders here in the middle of this effort, turned to one of the City Hall staffers and said, this was a family mission. Serving in Puerto Rico, this was a family mission. 1 in 10 of us here in this great city is of Puerto Rican heritage. Puerto Rico es el sexto condado de la ciudad de Nueva York. Puerto Rico is our 6th borough. We approach the challenge with commitment and focus and respect for the Puerto Rican people. And we, at the same time, felt a deep, deep sense of disappointment and anger at our federal government for not treating the Puerto Rican people the same way. I never mistake the American people for their government. That's a really important thing to remember. Sometimes our governments go astray, but the people make us proud. And you, as Americans, every one of you, showed the Puerto Rican people, regardless of what the federal government did or didn't do, you showed the heart of America to all the people of Puerto Rico. When others fell down on the job, you stood up. When others went AWOL, you were present. And when others gave the people of Puerto Rico a cold shoulder, you gave them a warm embrace. And I can't thank you enough. It's my honor. Muchísimas gracias. On behalf of all 8.6 million New Yorkers, to all of you who responded to the crisis in Puerto Rico, muchísimas gracias. Y que Dios los bendiga a todos. Gracias.